In this video, I'm going to show you the easiest way to learn or teach modulation for classical music. This is a topic that a lot of students struggle with, but is essential for them to advance to higher grade theory. Hey guys, my name is Kenneth and I help music teachers and students with everything related to ABRSM music theory. If you found this video useful, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. This will really help with the YouTube algorithm and get more people who like music theory to come together. Now let's get into the video. For modulation to occur smoothly, we need three things: a pivot chord, a secondary dominant, and a new tonic. If any one of these ingredients is missing, the modulation might not sound natural or successful. Let's start talking about the pivot chord first. A pivot chord is a chord that is present in both the original key and the new key during modulation. These chords exist in both keys involved in modulation and serve as bridges to get from one key to another. For example, if we start in the key of C major, we could modulate to the dominant key of G major. Here I've listed out all 7 diatonic chords of both keys, and you can see that some chords overlap between the two keys. Chord 1 of C major is also chord 4 of G major. Chord 3 of C major is also chord 6 of G major. Chord 5 of C major is also chord 1 of G major. Chord 6 of C major is also chord 2 of G major. All of these chords highlighted here are what we call pivot chords, and they are the first chords we need to use to link the two keys together. Note that pivot chords have to be exactly the same chords, made of the same notes and quality. If you're wondering why the other chords shown here are not pivot chords, it's simply because of the presence of F sharp in G major that alters the quality of the chords from C major. Here I'm aligning the chords in a different way so you can see their relationship. Now, I like to think about modulation as traveling from one region to another. This is an analogy that students find easy to understand. Instead of thinking about chords and keys, think about house numbers and neighborhoods. Let's rename C major as Seaview Drive, which funnily enough is actually my address. Let's also rename G major as Gypsy Lane. You can see that both neighborhoods have only 7 houses, numbered 1 to 7. Imagine that you were born in Seaview Drive and you've moved from houses 1 to 4 to 5 and then back to 1. One day you realize that house 1 is a huge mansion and there's a secret back door that leads into Gypsy Lane. Turns out that this mansion has 2 entrances. Its front door is 1 Seaview Drive, while its back door is 4 Gypsy Lane. This means that you could get to a different neighborhood using the same house because of its sheer size. Let's say that you have arrived to the back door marked as 4 Gypsy Lane and you like it here. You could officially move to this new neighborhood by getting a form at 5 Gypsy Lane and registering yourself officially at 1 Gypsy Lane. Now you are an official resident of Gypsy Lane and you no longer live in Seaview Drive. This is basically modulation. Use a pivot chord to get from one region to another, then reaffirming the arrival of the new region by using a perfect cadence, going from chord 5 to chord 1. The perfect cadence in the new key reaffirms the arrival of the new key and consists of a secondary dominant and a new tonic. When modulating to G major from C major, the D major chord is the secondary dominant. It has an F sharp note that is diatonic to G major, but chromatic to C major. This tells us that accidentals are the signs that a passage is modulating to another key. We know that G major is the dominant of C major. D major is then the dominant of G major. This correlation shows that D major is then the secondary dominant of C major, or the 5 of 5. I like to use another analogy for younger kids. I'll tell them that they are C major and their father is G major. Their father's father is D major. Who is D major to the kids then? D major is now the grandfather, and in musical term, that's the secondary dominant. Now the new tonic is simple. It will be the tonic chord of the new key that you have modulated to. 2 things can happen after this new tonic has appeared. The passage can either continue in the new key or it can revert back to the old key. If the situation is the latter, we call it a tonicization. This is a short modulation that aims to highlight a single chord that subsequently progresses back to its original key immediately. Let's look at an example by Bach. The music here starts in G major, but it modulates to D major from bar 3 to 4. How do I know that? Well, it's simple. The appearance of the C sharp accidental in bar 3. This is the pivot chord. The G major chord is the tonic of G major and the subdominant of D major simultaneously. The secondary dominant is the A major chord here, with the new leading tone being the C sharp note. the new tonic appears immediately after the secondary dominant and is of course the D major chord. This completes the modulation process. However, a short modulation that does not last longer than a phrase is called a tonicization. We see that this whole passage after the modulation reverts back to G major. Therefore, we call the modulation in bar 3 a tonicization. Let's have a listen to how this sounds like. So that's our basic introduction to modulation. Just to recap on what we have discussed so far. For modulation to occur smoothly, we need three things: a pivot chord, which is a chord that exists in both the original key and the key we are modulating to; a secondary dominant, which is a fancy term that is basically the chord 5 of the new key; and a new tonic, which is the chord 1 of the new key and the goal of our modulation. After this three-part process, we could choose to continue in the new key or revert back to the old key. That is sometimes known as a tonicization process. To start identifying modulation in your music analysis, look out for accidentals, as these could be a sign of modulation. Next week, I'll show you some common modulations to relate to the keys. See you in the next video.